Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix? With the Wicks here on this beautiful Wednesday, December 15th, 2021, and thank you for joining, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. Now, today might be a little quicker of a show, just basically the reason being that there's really nothing too heavy to talk about, if you will. I mean, a lot of COVID situations kind of happening right now. The league is meeting, doing a bunch of what should we do with the protocols and whatnot. When can coaches finally meet when can ownership of teams meet with other coaches around that are looking for jobs to kind of interview them for their head coaching position and stuff like that. But today it's going to be a quick show because today is the Week 15 or my Week 15 power ranking release, and we're doing it right here on the show. So whoever is watching, hey, you guys get first look at my Week 15 power rankings. Otherwise, they won't be released until tomorrow. Probably, before noon, hopefully. Last time I was a little off on that one. It was a little afternoon, but I mean, it is what it is. We'll get it released early on in the morning, but there is a couple things we have to dive into today. So are you ready to get your fix? Well, right off the bat, we have to talk about DeAndre Hopkins. It has come out that I guess during the game when they played the Los Angeles Rams, DeAndre Hopkins went down with a knee injury. Nobody was really sure at the time how serious it was, what it actually was hurt, and the severity of that injury. Well, it has come out officially after getting two opinions basically on his knee and what is actually going on there with that. But here it is, folks. We have Cardinals wide receiver, as reported by Adam Schefter on Twitter. DeAndre Hopkins is expected to miss the rest of the regular season with a sprained knee. But the team is hopeful to get him back at some point in the postseason. League sources tell Adam Schefter and at Jay Fowler, ESPN. So this is big news for DeAndre Hopkins, for Cardinals fans, for the Cardinals organization, and going forward as well. The Cardinals have been in the number one seed in the NFC for quite some time, lost that number one seed to the Green Bay Packers because, obviously Arizona lost to Los Angeles on Monday Night Football. So this is a big hit for the Cardinals. I wouldn't say it's going to be detrimental to their season. It's not going to affect them from going into the playoffs or from making the playoffs. I still think they are more than capable of doing so. Obviously, I mean they're 10-3 at this point. Only 4 more games to go. They could finish 10-7. Not going to happen. I mean, if it happens, wow. That would just be mind-blowing to me. But that is not going to happen. The Cardinals are going to make the playoffs. It just, it all depends on if they win the next week or a couple weeks after that, obviously, and and it also matters of what position they're going to get in that playoff race. Right now, they're currently leading the NFC West division with the Rams kind of really close behind. I believe that they're at 9-4 so far. So they're inching up. So this is a big hit for the Arizona Cardinals. But it is good news that we could possibly see DeAndre Hopkins back in action during the postseason. But some other news, man, COVID has literally taken the league by storm. Literally has taken it by storm. 85 total players have been added to the COVID-19 injured reserve list, and it's a wild time to be alive. It's a wild time to kind of watch this kind of all transpire. But the weirdest thing about this
is that I'm more than half, or probably more than 3/4 of those 85 players, or probably even more than that, have no symptoms, feel just fine. What's going to happen? We don't know. That's what the NFL is meeting for today, kind of going over the COVID protocols, what they're going to change, what they're going to do going forward. Not really sure what is kind of going to happen with that and on that front. But it is kind of, it is weird. I'd assume this is the Omicron, variant going around and sneaking into places where it's you're going to be asymptomatic, but you're still going to have COVID and whatnot, and it might be more serious, it might not. I have no fucking clue. I ain't no doctor, so I have no idea. But it is just kind of weird because they're not showing symptoms, and if they are just fine, they're feeling just fine, why not let them go play? I understand, obviously you don't want to infect other people. You don't want to infect the fans. You don't want to, make the rest of your team kind of feel like shit, especially the ones who aren't vaccinated and stuff like that. So it's a really... it's a weird situation because a lot of those players are just fine. And there are a couple teams that are really, really hurting from this late COVID breakout that it's just literally happened out of fucking nowhere. So, basically all this is kind of saying is, hey, if you haven't had COVID, you're going to get it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to get it at some point, at some time. Even if you don't know you have it, even if you don't, go get tested to see if you actually have it, you're probably going to have it at one point in your, lifetime. At least probably more recent than probably later, I'd assume, because we're going to crack down on it. Maybe. We thought, COVID was pretty much, out the window, mask gone, see you later. Let's fucking, get back to reality and society and stuff like that, but now it's fucking smacking the NFL in the mouth. But two teams, like I noticed, are really suffering right now from the recent breakouts. And that, folks, is the Washington football team, and most importantly, the Cleveland Browns. The Washington football team and Browns are now up to 18 players each on the reserve COVID-19 list. The Rams have 16 players on the COVID reserve 19 list, or whatever it's stated right there so you guys can kind of see. But the Browns play Saturday. And none of these guys are going to be able to play. Absolutely not possible unless you're vaccinated and you have 2 negative tests in the 24-hour span and you're good to go. It's just not going to happen. Cleveland has taken an absolute beating, folks, from COVID. And I'll just kind of go off here and list the names of the Cleveland Browns players that will not be playing this Saturday against the Las Vegas Raiders in a game where Cleveland needs to win. They're not. I'm going to tell you right now that is not going to happen. And if they do, hey, fucking kudos to them. This is a rough list to have. And if they win, like I said, congratulations, because it's going to be a tough one to win without these players that I list here. Head coach Kevin Stefanski, running backs coach Ryan Cordell, quarterback Baker Mayfield, wide receivers Jarvis Landry and JoJo Natson, tight ends Austin Hooper, David Njoku, Ross Travis, tackle Jedrick Wills, guards Wyatt Teller and Drew Forbes, defensive ends Tack McKinley and Ifedi Odenigbo. I hope I said his name wrong. Probably didn't. It's a weird one. I'll figure it out at some point. And then D tackle Malika McDowell, linebacker Anthony Walker, cornerback Troy Hill, safeties John Johnson and Nate Meaders or something like that, and punter Jamie Gillen. That is a huge list, folks. They play Saturday. That is currently 1, 2, 3 days away. T's and P's to all the people or players affected and who have COVID. Hopefully you guys all make a full recovery. Hopefully you all, make it through this battle alive. I'd assume you're going to. Well-trained athletes and stuff like that. But, T's and P's because, this upcoming game is one you need to win. You kind of need to win the rest of the games this season to kind of, get going, make a strong push to maybe, get into the playoffs this year. And it's going to be tough without 18 of their star players. I'm glad Nick Chubb isn't in this one. I'm glad Kareem Hunt isn't in this one. But it's it's a serious situation. It's a sad one. It sucks, but what are you going to do? I mean, that's why the NFL and owners and executives are all meeting, or they had met today to kind of talk about the protocols, what's going to happen going forward, what's going to change, what's not. And they're talking to the NFLPA and all this stuff, so they'll get it figured out. And once they do, I'll be the first to kind of let you guys know what is actually going on in the world of football, basically. But that's basically kind of all I have for those pieces of information. But another piece of information that I didn't create a graphic because I seen it after I was kind of getting ready to go for the show. Urban Meyer, get the fuck out of Jacksonville. Get the hell out of Jacksonville. Like, what? The reports I've been hearing now are just ridiculous. Why? Like, what is going on in Jacksonville? It is complete and utter fuckery over there. I mean, it is done. I mean, Urban needs to get out of town. Apparently, reports come out and said that Josh Lambo, former kicker for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Josh Lambo came out and said, during practice one day, Urban Meyer came up to me and kicked me in my leg. So he went on to say that Urban Meyer actually said this, quote, "Hey, dipshit, make your fucking kicks," and kicked him. All right, then. Sounds good. How you doing? Keep it moving. I don't want to be a Jaguar. Get me the fuck out of town. And he did. He's not a Jaguar no more because, I mean, who the fuck wants to play for this guy? Nobody. This ain't college football. This ain't high school football. This is the NFL. This is where grown men come to play. This is where it's frustrating. Something's got to change. Urban Meyer needs to get out of town. Don't like it. Don't want it. If you're kicking your players, if you're abusing your players, you're a scumbag. Put you in that same category, not quite, not quite in the same category, but close to the category of John Gruden, where John Gruden, I mean, he's a complete, what the actions he did was just uncalled for, but this is very uncalled for as well for Urban Meyer. I mean, first the chop house, him and that young lady getting after it in his own chop house, and then, you got the other reports where, he tried bamboozling the team, saying that he didn't know he knew what he was doing and it really wasn't all that bad and stuff like that. Bullshit. Then he goes out and tries to call out his whole team saying, what the fuck are your achievements? What do you have? What have you done? Do you have a high school ring? Do you have a college ring? Huh? You have a Super Bowl. I don't have a Super Bowl, but that's what we're working for here. So if you guys don't want to be here and buy into that, get the fuck out of town. We've talked about it. Marvin Jones said sounds good, and fucking walked out of the meeting. So Urban Meyer, if this report is true, he's saying it's not, obviously to cover his own ass, but if it's true, get him out of town. Get him out of the Jacksonville Jaguars organization because they're a lost cause at this point. Like, no one's gonna buy into what he's trying to bring there. Like, nobody's gonna wanna play for somebody like that. All right, well, that is the kind of the gist of the information that I have so far. But now it's time to get to my Week 15 power rankings. Let's get to it, folks, shall we? We're going to do this. We're going to go from 32 and work our way to number 1. So right off the bat, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at 32. Kind of just talked about it. Urban Meyer, get the fuck out of town, because otherwise, Jacksonville, you're going to be stuck here in the last spot. Then above them, we got the New York Jets. Now, I could have moved them a little bit higher or kept them higher where they are, but the teams I have above them, I think, are just, just a little bit better than the Jets are. And the reason I say that is because here we go for the, number 30, we have the Houston Texans. Look, they could have been 31. I kept them, or put them at 32. I moved them up one spot. And the reason being is because Davis Mills is a dude. I mean, he's a guy who's a baller, and he goes out there and does really good things. David Culley, their coach, is doing really, really well. They don't have the wins to prove that much, but I do think they're a better overall football team than the New York Jets. Then you see the Lions there. They're staying right there at this point in time. They're looking pretty solid. They have a lot of fight in them. Their record doesn't say that, but they had a lot of close, or have had a lot of close games this year, so that's why they're at 29. And we got the New York Giants right above them. Not going to move them up, not going to move them down, because they are better than the ones that are below them, but they aren't better than the ones that are above them. We got Carolina right above them. Atlanta, one spot above them, barely beat Carolina last week. Then you got the Chicago Bears. I had to move them up one spot, even though they did lose to Green Bay. I still feel like Chicago is a way better team than the Falcons, the Panthers, the Giants, the Lions, the Texans, the Jets, and the Jaguars, obviously. So those are my 30 through 25. Then next we got the Las Vegas Raiders at 24. They're an okay team. They have a lot of fight in them. They got the dog shit beat out of them by the Kansas City Chiefs, so that sucks. But what are you going to do? I mean, I still think they're an okay football team. They're just a team that has completely fallen apart because of the outside noise and stuff that has actually happened with inside their organization the past couple months here. So, and by the way, Damon Arnett, the quarterback that the Raiders ended up releasing because he posted that Instagram video of him flashing his guns, threatening other people. They said, we don't need that. See you later. The fucking Miami Dolphins, who I have ranked number 20, signed him to their practice squad to give him another chance. I'm glad he's getting another chance, but at the same time, why risk it? Why test it? I mean, this guy, he had multiple cases, I guess, where he was just, he was a problem, basically, is what was said. But then above the Raiders, we got Seattle. They're starting to win more ball games. They're trying to stay out of that losing season for Russ. And they might do it. They very well could do it. We'll see how their season finishes. Then we got the Saints above them, the Eagles going above them, the Dolphins right there, and then Washington football team just above the Miami Dolphins. Even though the Dolphins are on a 5-game win streak, I still have a feeling that Washington has a lot of fight. They have a lot of poise. They're just the aura around Washington, not their organization. I'm talking about the team, the players they have right now. They got a lot of fight in them. They're playing pretty solid football. The organization, that's another story. Okay, that's another story to have for another time. And then at number 18, we got the Minnesota Vikings. I did move them up one spot because they did obviously beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, in which you see right there as well. I don't know where else to put them. I think this is a good spot to put them. They've been kind of fluctuating up and down on this page, basically. I think the whole season they've been on this page. I don't think I put them at 10 or 12. They might have been on 12 at like one time or 11 at one time in the season when they were, fucking 4-4 or 5-5, whatever it was at that point. So there's Minnesota at 18, and we got the Denver Broncos at 17, and then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers right there at 16. I had to move them down one spot, to make room for the Browns, who got a big, big dub against the Baltimore Ravens a week before COVID just decided to, sweep right through their fucking organization, their locker room, everywhere in Cleveland is pretty much on lockdown for the Browns. But they have to be right there above the Steelers and above the Broncos and Vikes. Then we're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, had to move them down and had to move San Fran above them at 13 because they played. San Fran proved they were the better team by a field goal. So, you can't move them too high up. You can't move them too high or too far down. So that's where I got with those two, Cincinnati at 14, San Fran at 13. At 12, I got the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay. They're a really hit or miss team. You really don't know what you're going to get with them. Are you going to get the best version of them, or are you going to get the worst version of them? You never really know. So I kind of kept them right where they have been from previously, from the last week, just basically because, what are you going to do? You can't move them higher. They did get an okay dub, but like I said, they're very hit or miss. So I had to keep them at 12. Then we got the Buffalo Bills right above them. Move them down 2 slots because, they've stunk the last couple weeks, so you can't put them up. You can't keep them where they are. You got to bring them down a little bit. We got the Tennessee Titans at 10, the Indianapolis Colts at 9. The Baltimore Ravens, I had to move down 3 slots because, they've been struggling a little bit as of late. They had that loss against Pittsburgh or against Cleveland and Pittsburgh the past 2 weeks. They're not looking so hot, but they're an okay football team. They are in the top 10, so expect the Baltimore Ravens to do, pretty decent things, I would say, going forward. Then we got the Rams at number 7. They got a big win against Arizona, had to move them up 1 spot, but I think the reason I put them only 1 spot ahead is because they're not better than the teams I have ahead of them. They very well could be, obviously, but we'll have to take a gander at that. So at number 6, I have the Dallas Cowboys, in which, it was a tough one. I could have put them at 5. I could have put Kansas City at 6, but with the beating Kansas City gave the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, they just put on an absolute show out there. I mean, it was just laughable to watch the Raiders just completely fall apart and Kansas City completely destroy them. So I had to keep Dallas or move Dallas back up to 6. I moved Kansas City up one spot, obviously, to number 5. They're looking pretty solid. They're tied for the best record in the AFC. They're right there, tied for the first seed in the AFC. So Kansas City at 5, and then for the past last week and this week, my top 4 are the same. New England at 4. They're not better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I have at 3. And I don't think Tampa is better than the Arizona Cardinals. That's why I have the Cardinals at 2. Now, if these guys do play, if Cardinals-Tampa do play, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of, works itself out, what kind of happens, because, it is Tom fucking Brady. And I think, that stat, we talked about it on Monday night or Tuesday, that if Kyler Murray has a turnover or 2, the Cardinals more than likely are going to lose that ball game. And I think it'd be a very interesting battle between the Cardinals and Tampa. But right now, I got Cardinals still at number 2. And then top team, the number 1 team in my Week 15 power rankings, and it has been for the past 2 or 3 weeks now, I believe, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they're the kings of the North. They're number 1 seed in the NFC. This team seems to be unstoppable when Aaron fucking Rodgers is healthy. And I mean, even when he's not healthy, because the dude has a fractured fucking toe, he goes out there, completely balls out, and has done some pretty decent things, I'd say, for Green Bay, especially keeping them on the win column, if you will. I mean, how you doing, basically. And Green Bay's a tough team to beat, and they will be going forward as well. So those are my Week 15 power rankings. That is basically all I have for you guys today. Like I said, there really wasn't much to kind of dive into, to dabble in. But I mean, shit, we've been going for 22 minutes. Felt like fucking 5. That's awesome, But it's been a great one. It's been a good one. Tomorrow, we will be back here to preview tomorrow night's matchup. I believe, let me go check real quick. I'm not 100%, excuse me. I think it's Chiefs-Chargers, if I had to guess. Yeah, Chiefs-Chargers tomorrow night. We're going to preview that game tomorrow, as well as dive into maybe a little bit of, I don't know. We'll figure it out when the time gets there. So go enjoy the rest of your night. Stay safe, because, there's some weather that's supposedly going to happen. It's lightning. It's going to get really windy. It's probably going to have some tornadoes. Probably not. I don't know. It's December. That'd be fucking Looney Tunes, but it is what it is. Go enjoy the rest of your night. Be safe, and have a great rest of the evening. And you guys just got your fix, I'd say, with the Wicks, obviously. Thank you guys, and have a great one.